just drank a bunch of Coca-Cola, something that I never do. So I might be, okay. Before I started, I would like to tell you a little bit of my background so you understand my training. Okay. I started basketball. I grew up in Brazil. I'm Brazilian, American, and I grew up in Brazil. I started with organized sport when I was 12 with this soccer coach and PE teacher. And he was my basketball coach who had a little bit background on conditioning. And these guys love to hurt us. Okay? And he was very ambitious and different. He wanted his team to be the only team in the state to guard man-to-man full court full time. So my first experience with basketball was a 12-minute run, Copa Texas, which I did okay. I was 12 years old. And then I loved basketball right away. My thing was basketball. I came from soccer to basketball and identified, this is my way. So I did basketball with him for 2 years. When I was 14, somehow my name got on the track team that was going to represent the school for upcoming championships without my knowledge. And this basketball coach did a time trial with me, and I ran 1,500 meters, 4:47. Nothing spectacular, right? 14 years old. But then my first competitive race was 4:039. Okay? And right away, this coach saw something in me. And all the track experts decided that I was a natural talent, not knowing that I had been with this coach for 2 years. Okay? And from there, 15, I ran 151, 48, 400, 18, 144. And 1984, I won the Olympic Games, 143 flat, and then later that summer, I ran 141.77, missing the world record by 4/100%. Okay? But this is not what made us special, my coach and I. What made us special was the fact that everybody thought we were different. The way he coached me and the way I execute the program. They didn't know about me on a daily basis, but other athletes knew, especially my teammates. They would not run with me because I just decided to go another level. I didn't want to, I hate track, couldn't stand it. It hurt, was not social at all, especially in Brazil. And I said, you know what, my coach convinced me to do this. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to see how far I can go. So I did it because of the challenge, the traveling, the idea of belonging to a team. Okay, it was fun, especially the national team. Anyway, so just keep in mind that I was unique not because of my results. My results were was because I was different. We did something different. And the way I coach, I don't know if you have heard, but all the athletes who come to the Olympic Training Center, they think I'm different. Okay? And right away I tell them, in order to be unique, you need to do something that outside the track and field Bible, which today you saw that they're already doing something. To me, they are reinventing the wheel in order to go faster and faster. Even looks like modifying even the way we should run, right? And anyway, so just to keep in mind, I come from middle distance, training sprinters, 1 and 2 in America. Okay. My first years were very challenging. to convince athletes that they need to be in shape. And I had that background from my coach, good coaching approach, philosophy. Yeah, my coach was a conditioning coach. So he worked with me, and I'm trying to model a little bit, not so much, because I'm not going to coach my athletes the way, 100% the way I coach myself, my coach. Anyway, so visually impaired. I have been coaching these guys. I coach pretty much every class, 11, 12, 13. Have been at the Olympic Training Center for almost 12 years now. Okay, let me start with showing a video of Jerome and David. So you can get a little to see how they are approaching the sport and where they are going. This was done last year prior to the Paralympic Games. No sound?
Doesn't sound like it. Getting some, but not much.
And the rest has been history.
There you go. Drive. Stay in tight.
Running with Jerome, I don't have to worry about going out too far. All I have to focus on is just listening to him.
Get up. Nice. There you go. That's good.
When I run with David, it's very rewarding. I know how much he wants it, and I know that I can help him get to that spot.
There you go. There you go.
I run more confidently because I have him right there. I'm actually tethered up to him.
Come on top. Let's work our way off.
It's him matching my cadence and pretty much me trusting him.
So this started out like at 10 inches long. That was about 6 or 5.5.
So basically, the faster we run, the closer we get to each other.
Guys, come on. 20 meters, come on. We're coming off the curve.
Arm action should be exact. We should be hitting the ground at the same time. It should look effortless.
And you see us run, look like one person.
It should look like one person running.
Whew. That's good. First person over here.
David Brown has not always been blind.
How did I become blind? That is a real good question. At the age of 15 months old, I came down with Kawasaki's disease, which gave me glaucoma.
At 6, his vision began to deteriorate rapidly,
Yeah, right.
and by 13, he had lost his sight.
I was 5 years old, and I remember being able to reprint and seeing perfectly. 2020, everything was good, everything was okay. But then the next year, they started teaching me Braille. And I'm like, Mom, what's going on? And she's all, David, your sight is decreasing. Your sight is starting to go away. That was really hard for me. Of course, it hurts to see your kids going through all this. So I remember times where she'd be crying because there was every weekend surgery back to back to back.
There you go. Right on top. Right on your feet.
Things started getting better once I pretty much started to accept the fact that, okay, this sight thing, it's going away.
Just up.
I'm not just going to sit around and be depressed and let it get to me. I'm just going to have to make do with what I have.
Let's go. Straight.
In 2004, right around the time David Brown lost his sight, 26-year-old U.S. Olympic hopeful Jerome Avery was dealing with the disappointment of missing the cut for the Athens Games. An opportunity to attend the Paralympics as a guide changed his outlook.
It was about me at the beginning. 2004, I felt like I should have been in Athens competing, but I was there for someone else. And then once Lexus got the silver medal, my whole, attitude and everything shifted. I'm like, this is an awesome experience. I've never made it to this level, but I'm able to help someone else get their dreams and accomplish their goals.
Drive, stay low, push up. Ready? Go.
Push, 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 push,
Our
push.
first competition, you know, he's on side of me. We're walking to the practice field to warm up, and I get people to come up to me. They're giving me the good for you, you know. I'm proud of you. Good for what you do. And I'm thinking to myself, I've seen this guy practice. He's coming here to kick your butt. He's not playing around. There's only one person in the world who's ran a sub 1100 meters that is totally blind and is connected to someone. I think that's an extreme sport.
Being a 5 or 6 year old kid, of course you have dreams of being something big. I never would thought that track would be something that I would excel in as well as I am.
For him to allow me to be a part of this journey with him, it's almost like that, you know, I'm winning the gold as well.
To be number one in anything, I never looked at myself like that. You know, I'm just another person trying to be, you know, something greater than what I am.
So that's Jerome Avery and David Brown. Okay. Let's see. This. So let's talk about guiding a little bit. Some of the basic requirements. Jerome pretty much said everything in this video. One thing that is really hard for us to identify is an athlete who is faster than the runner. David Brown started with one guy at the Olympic Training Center, but then a few months later, we thought that he was already too fast for the runner, too fast for the guy. So and David Brown was the one who felt that and let me know right away. So we had to make a switch. And it was really tough because you want the athlete, the runner, to develop a good relationship with the guy. When something like that, when they break their relationship, it's like that's the hardest thing to, you know, for them, for both of them, especially for the blind runner who is breaking the relationship. Okay, and so we brought Jerome in, and Jerome fits right away because Jerome himself is a 10:17 runner, 20.67. 200. And David at this time was running 11, little bit. And there was a great period for us because when we were looking for a guide, I was spending a lot of time working with David, especially on his trusting for other people. One thing, he didn't trust anyone to make him run straight, so I had to be very creative, okay? And so I would put him somewhere and I would clap just to give him direction when he was doing some short acceleration. And with time and repetition, he started trusting the other person, and trusting himself a little more too. When he first came to me, he was doing the long jump. But after the first track meet, I removed him in the middle of the competition because I felt he was going to end up hurting himself because he was not going straight. Anyway, so one thing, Jerome fit right away. Okay, he was faster than David by a lot. Really athletic. Okay, one thing is for you to run fast. Another thing is for you to run fast and guide somebody at the same time. Very, very hard. Okay, I brought a few other guys, about 4 other different guys to the center, but they were fast, but they could not guide them because they couldn't run and guide the athlete at the same time. Trustworthy, okay, they have to trust each other. Jerome is David's eyes. If David doesn't trust Jerome, it's going to be tough. Okay, Jerome is very communicative. Okay, and he's also a coach because they warm up together, and Jerome is the one looking for cues, giving him cues and looking for mechanics, problems that David might has, okay? And he's the one correcting David. Doing the competition, doing the workout, he's the one coaching David every single minute. So he needs to enjoy himself as a coach as well. Okay, excellent teamwork, confident, more confident than Jerome, and competitive, very competitive. You heard him saying that his first Paralympic Games, because he didn't make the able body, the Olympics, he felt that he wanted to be there as an athlete, and he made a mistake. Okay, so he's very competitive. Okay, this class blind. This whole class, we are about to lose one class, right, Kathy? I think it's going to be blind or 12 or 13. Okay, right now we got blind and 12 and 13, but they might combine. They might force our athlete who's 12 to, they might combine their class. And this class, okay, just some things that you need to know. Need a guide runner. He has to run with a guide. The athlete has no visual cues. That is needed. Okay, 2 lanes. They share 2 lanes. 1, 2, so they can run right in the middle of the 2 lanes. Okay. Must use blocks. Just basic stuff. Okay. That's class 12. Okay, has limited vision. I say to these kids that they have, how do you say, selective vision. Okay, sometimes they see things that how did you see that? Especially the next athlete, he was he even rode a motorbike sometimes. And anyway, Kim, she could classify as a 13, but she decided to be a 12 because she's more competitive in that class. So the 12 runner, they need a guide. She runs by herself, but when it's dark, when the track is not red or is lighter color, she struggles a little bit. But one thing about these 2 classes, 11 and 12, they compete for 4 spots in the final, 4 lanes. Very competitive. They have to eliminate most of the athletes, to get to the final. Okay, those are the events they compete in. Let's use blocks. Okay. If you have any questions, stop me so I can help you guys. Okay. This Royal Mitchell used to hold the. Actually, I was 3 world record. He also broke the world record under my program. He's the one who had selective vision. Okay. No guide was needed. Okay. Depth perception could be limited. Night vision will be lacking. It's funny when you travel with these guys, 11, 13, 12, and 13. At night they would hang out together, one guiding the other. That was really funny. Those are the events they compete in. Okay, based on what they offer at the time. These blocks, no training modification. The training is the same. I never had to, change their training much. Just make a few adjustments here and there. For David, for example, at the blind, I use a lot of sound, okay, to get him to do new drills. And touch, okay, just hold his back. This is the way I want you to move your legs. Okay. One thing is to train coaching these guys. Another thing is to get them to follow your program to get in the same direction. Okay, that's the biggest challenge. I consider myself more like a coach who manage and train the athlete, manage their careers, okay? And I use this metaphor here. I can go forever with this. And I sit down with them and I show this picture and I try to explain to them what we are trying to do at the Olympic Training Center, okay? I like to work in a 3-year Paralympic cycle. That way I have time to really develop the athlete. So, and in Paralympic cycle, we know that the goal is to get to the top. Actually, in this situation, the goal is to get to the bottom, the top and the bottom. Otherwise, you'll die on the way down. And a lot of people do that. And we need time, years, sometimes years to get there. Sometimes the athlete can get there in a year and a half, in case circumvents one of single leg amputee avoiding the knee. Kathy sent him to me, very athletic, big athlete, and I was able to develop a program with him for a year and a half, and he was able to get a silver medal. But sometimes, you know, it takes 3 years, 4 years, 8 years. It took me 6 years to get to the top. Actually, 8. So I try to convey, you know, explain, communicate to the athlete that takes time. Just last week, one of my athletes says, "So, coach, I'm going to compete this weekend. Tomorrow, I'm going to run a PR." I said, with 2 weeks of training, you can. I want you to, but I doubt it. Okay? So I showed them that we have to go through steps in the process. Okay? And it takes time and repetition. And then that's my coaching philosophy. Okay? In the Paralympic journey, sometimes you need 3 to 4 years. I like working with 4 years, so I have time. And we know that that's the long-term objective. The short-term objective would be like this year. This year we are training for, you know, to go to Paralympic national championships, to make the team, and to go to the world championships. So, and I have a bunch of new athletes. This first year is going to take time for them to know me and I to know them. Okay? And that's when we get to know each other, you know, the first year, second year, and I communicate my expectation, and I want to hear from them what their expectations are, you know, when they come to the Olympic Training Center, so I can put them in the same direction that I have. So, psychological expectation, physiological, I need to know what kind of athlete they are. Aiden came to me last year, one of the CP, and he was training, you know, he was spending time there training for the Paralympic Games, and I gave him a drill, but the drill was too much for him, so I had to go back to the basics. And now he can, you know, after a few repetition and a few training, he's able to do the drill. So I need to really get to know what they're capable of doing or not. And this is the hardest thing. As an athlete, I was a 24-hour athlete. I didn't like parties, I didn't like drinking. My social life was fit exactly to a life of an athlete. Okay, and but you spend what, 4 hours with the athlete, 3 hours a day? What about the 21 hours that they are alone? Carrying themselves, thinking, eating, sleeping, okay? Those are the things that they are going to make a huge difference in their lives. So I spend a lot of time, you know, communicating my expectation and the expectation from the sport to them, okay? And to me, the process is important. It's When they come to me, like this kid, he was silver and bronze, 17 years old. With little training, okay? It took me 8 years. He's what, 3 years, 4 years, something? He is developing a history of training in this sport. In order to run at his best, he should have at least 6 years at the beginning. So, process is important, okay? That's what I said here. And in a year, in order for everything to make sense for the athlete to get better and better, the athlete needs to finish competing. Okay, that means accelerator here, music. Okay, so I showed them Mount Everest, and then this is the way I organize my training. Very much like the seasons. It's funny because the Brazilians are the only one below the Ecuador that don't